Chelsea Football Club received their first "here we go" from Fabrizio Romano, and it's Ian Maatsen leaving, but not on a permanent, with no option of purchase. I'm going to explain to you the deal for Ian Maatsen to Dortmund and why he potentially has a future at the club. Then we need to talk about Mauricio Pochettino's press conference after the cameras went off. Fans are jumping on his neck. Just say you want him sacked because you don't like the individual because he's Spursy. Because what he said is fair, realistic and honest, but yet people want to throw their agenda on it. And then the final one that is very interesting. Bowley & Co. have bought £140 million worth of shares. And the reason they've done that, well, I've got an idea, but the reality is this is great for Chelsea Football Club. Victor Osimhen, are we really going to be doing that? Let's get into it. Before we go, hit the like button. I need to get 1,000 likes on this video. It's the best way you can support the channel. And around about 56% of you that watch the content don't subscribe. So I don't understand why. So do me a favor, subscribe now, because a lot of people enjoy this content and you can be one of them. And finally, there will be a post-match review after tonight's game. So make sure you subscribe by hitting that bell notification. So we've got our first official "here we go." And I think this is important to look at it in the way that this is actually being presented rather the way that other people are trying to spin it. So Ian Maatsen is a player that played right wing, left wing and number 10 for Chelsea throughout pre-season. Then he played centre midfielder for 1 or 2 games and has never really had a look in at left back under Mauricio Pochettino. Whether it's due to a lack of physicality or him not rating his defensive work rate, it's been prominently evident that he's not going to get a look in at Chelsea. We've accepted a £31 million bid on deadline day in September. And what happened? Chelsea accepted. Ian Maatsen said, "I'm not going anywhere." What did Ian do? He sat down, worked hard, and now all of a sudden he's got a move to Dortmund. So Chelsea were persistently trying to negotiate a deal to Dortmund on one structure. Here's a loan, but we want an option to buy. Chelsea didn't receive that because Dortmund weren't willing to pay the evaluation, and the market for Ian Maatsen has dropped down. Right? No more can we request £31 million. So what have Chelsea done? They've got him to re-sign a deal for 2 years to 2027. So 2 years, additional years on top with an option for Chelsea Football Club. And then this is the critical part. There is no option to buy at the end of that loan. So Ian can go there, smash it, absolutely destroy it, come back to Chelsea and have a future. Or there's a release clause that we don't know the number of that could be activated to get him out of the club. The reality is this suits all parties. It suits Ian Maatsen because he can now play consistent football, hopefully at Dortmund, and then they can activate the clause to buy him, or he can come back to Chelsea and become part of Chelsea's future if Mauricio Pochettino moves on. Or Mauricio just changes his perception on him, which I think is highly unlikely. Or a bigger club could come in and play the release clause and move him on. Because the reality is Chelsea are protected, the player is protected, and Dortmund are protected. This is a win-win situation. We've got an "here we go." This will potentially drag on a little bit because Chelsea will have to either recall Datro Fofana or Hakim Ziyech to regain a slot in Europe to loan players out. I think there's a good chance that they're going to terminate Hakim Ziyech's contract. That's what I think is going to happen. Guys, we all know I'm not the biggest fan of Mauricio Pochettino's tactical side of games. I think as a man manager, he's absolutely phenomenal. And if I had the option to sack him and bring in a Ruben Amorim or Schmidt from Benfica, I'm doing. I like their style of play and I like their ambition. But more importantly, I am never going to be an individual that criticizes someone because I have an agenda against them, when what I believe they're doing is correct. Pochettino yesterday, after the cameras went off, spoke to the newspapers. And what did he say? He said, "We need to play against Middlesbrough like they're the best team in the world." Reality is Chelsea are no longer a Champions League team or a Premier League team at this moment in time. So we must be respectful and realistic. Oh my God, the meltdown when these quotes came out were absolutely hysterical. You can't be saying that. Pochettino is a Spursy manager. It's unacceptable for him to be saying that. Where have the standards gone? Standard brigade out in full class. The reality is, what Poch has said is the truth. Look at the first half against Preston and look at the second half. We played with no urgency, no enthusiasm, no respect for the opposition. Second half, he definitely told them you need to earn the right to play. And I think that expression is imperative. This is a young squad. Pochettino's telling them from the outset, it doesn't matter if it's Middlesbrough. We can't be compulsory, complacent, sorry. And then people got angry that they said it's not mandatory to win. It's not mandatory to win. It is expected you win, but it's not mandatory to win. There could be a fight that kicks off in the first minute amongst the players. We get 3 red cards. Are we mandatorily expected to win the game? No. The reality is he is telling these players, no additional pressure on you, but you need to go out there and perform. You need to play like it's the best team in the world. You need to play that. Team playing in red is Liverpool and not Middlesbrough. And this, for me, is Pochettino managing expectations from the general outset, because he knows we're going to win this game. I'm confident we're going to win this game. But he's also protecting his players if things go wrong. This is a young core group, and we need to manage them. And for me, one thing he has done magnificently, he's managed Broja, Jackson, Noni, Mudryk, Cole Palmer, phenomenal. Caicedo even, phenomenally. Enzo, I'm not happy with the management of Enzo, but that's more of a tactical decision. Conor Gallagher, all of a sudden, people are talking about as a £60 million player. That is thank you to Mauricio Pochettino. I don't care what anyone else says. That is purely based on Mauricio Pochettino's system and his ability to get the best out of that player. So please, we can criticize his development of players if you want. You can criticize his in-game tactics. You can criticize his team talks, yeah, and the reaction that we see after it. But don't criticize his press conferences like absolutely he doesn't know what he's talking about, because what he said is fact. The final thing we're going to talk about is yesterday on Company's House. So for those of you that don't know, any like public limited company or any big company has to declare stuff on Company's House. If you're a business open in the UK, which Chelsea Football Club is and every other football club is, you almost have to have shareholders and you have to have directors and you have to declare stuff when money's being invested for tax purposes and when money's being taken out of business. Well, apparently Chelsea's owners, Blueco, have purchased £140 million worth of shares. And that's going to be injected into the club. They're allowed to do that. It's within their right. It's their business. They can dilute a club into multiple shares and just purchase a bit more. So essentially, this is just a trigger to bring more money into the club. The reason people are saying they're doing this is for Victor Osimhen. I think we need to calm down on that. I think we need to be a little bit relaxed. It could be potentially. It could also be to enable us to spend more money in January or potentially encourage, like, if we miss the Champions League, to make sure we can make payments. I would not be too hard on this ownership in the sense that they're clueless, right? People are saying we've made the wrong decision. Look, one thing I will say is we've made the wrong decisions, right? Sacking Tuchel shouldn't have happened. After Tuchel was sacked, you hired Potter, sacking Potter, and bringing in Lampard for the last 10 games shouldn't have happened. But they've learned from aspects where Bowley was the sporting director, then Paul Winstanley, and now we're trying to see what Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart are building. We're not going to know within the first 9 months, right? And they've been working since January to now, so it's been a year. We need to see another year, and then we can assess them accordingly. They get 4 transfer windows, and then we get to see whether the fruits of their labor have come to fruition. Because sometimes stuff at the outset makes no sense. But then you get to see the realization of what you were trying to build in the long run. So it is what it is, people. This was the Kavkas View. I hope you lot really enjoyed this video. I know it's an impromptu video. I know it's one that was inspired on the spot. I hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification because there will be a post-match reaction after for the Middlesbrough-Chelsea first leg tie affair. Peace out, I'm out. I've made a video yesterday on the press conferences as well. It's tagged here if you want to go watch any more Kavkas View content. I really appreciate you. Peace out.